Hey guys, it's Green Frog here. We're going to go on a squirrel hunt, PastorChris and I. If we're able to get a squirrel or two, we'll see what other foraged wild edibles we can gather up, and we'll turn it into a meal. So this will be another entry for ThomDarrah's Autumn Foragers Challenge.
Yeah. Pretty animal. You all done, buddy? Yeah.
This will be a nice addition to the foraged feast.
Yes, indeed. Indeed.
So what's your technique? Make the slit under the tail.
Run under the tail and then through the tail. And then step on the tail.
Yeah.
Huh?
Put in the skookum to use.
No, this is the...
Is that something?
That works.
Picking some juniper berries, red cedar berries from the cedar here. Could take a bit of the shredded bark as well. That'll do us well for starting up the fire. And we'll use these to flavor up the squirrel.
So today on Cooking with Green Frog, what do we have?
We've got a squirrel that was shot by Pastor Chris on our walk this morning, and we're going to go ahead and stuff the inside with a mix of ingredients. We have some wild foraged ingredients, the first of which is autumn olive berries, some stinging nettle, and some wild foraged apple. We'll also put in a few juniper berries or red cedar berries that were previously collected. And together they'll get to roast inside the squirrel. But that's not all. We're going to wrap the squirrel in bacon.
Of course we are.
And some wild foraged mushrooms, some hen of the woods and some chicken of the woods.
Outstanding. All right, well, why don't you put it all together and then we'll take a look at it before we wrap it up.
Excellent. Okay.
Got them stuffed with all those good ingredients.
There it is. Now we're going to wrap, well, we'll put his organs.
The liver and the heart.
The heart back on top. And we're going to wrap them up with bacon.
Good natural cured bacon from the butcher. Be a self-basting squirrel.
Leave that. And then we have hen of the woods. That's already been sauteed. as well as some chicken of the woods that's also been
man.
sauteed.
That's going to be good. Nice and tight. And then over into the coals.
Water's been boiling now from the river for more than a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and put in some Spicebush twigs, and that'll make a delicious tea. And I don't need it to keep boiling. I'm going to move it away from the fire and just let it steep. Got some Banock here, which is a mix of white flour, acorn flour. There's some black walnut pieces in there, as well as some wild foraged apple.
Should have brought some brandy, some rum to put on it at the end.
Right now it's sitting right on top of the squirrel that's hidden in the coals. So hopefully by the time that the Banock is ready, the squirrel will also be fully roasted.
Oh, 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 oh!
Feels good. Chris is going to do the classic baker's test for us. He's whittling up a toothpick. We're going to stick it in the Banock, see if it comes out clean. If it is, then we'll take it off the fire, and we'll open up that squirrel, and it'll be time to feast.
Oh, that's looking pretty good. Yep.
All right, I'm hungry. Let's do it. All right, let's see how it looks. Oh yeah.
Whoa.
That's perfect.
Oh man, that smells amazing.
Crispy bacon,
Yep.
crispy mushrooms.
All those berries, juices. Oh yeah, look at the way it just pulls away from the bone.
Oh wow.
There's the liver.
All right, let's get into it.
Just see how the... Oh yeah, look at that.
Spicebush tea.
Spicebush tea, Banock. A feast. Mushrooms and greens and apples. Half of the liver.
Good squirrel shoulder. There's the scapula. You gotta try that.
There's a good sweetness to it.
Yeah. Put some Spicebush berries. Give it a little extra flavor, not that it needs it, but just to add another ingredient.
Oh man. That's tender.
Look at that, a piece of bacon stuck to the leg. Trying to put together a perfect spoonful. I've got on this spoon a bit of squirrel, some chicken of the woods, some hen of the woods, some bacon, some autumn olive berries, some nettle, a little bit of Spicebush flavor. There was also those red cedar juniper berries inside the squirrel, so there's a bit of flavor from that as well as from the apple that cooked inside. So there it is. Delicious autumn foraged meal.
And acorn flour bannock with wild apples. And what else is in
Oh yeah,
there?
and some black walnut.
Black walnuts.
There's a bit of the bannock with the apple inside.
So everything in there except for the white flour that's in the bannock, which is white flour and acorn flour, and the bacon, which came from a nice organic butcher, everything else you gathered.
Yeah, it's all foraged off the landscape. So I searched around, covered a lot of ground, a couple different types of habitats, fields, forests, some swamp, and it helped that I already had a knowledge a bit of where I'm going to find these things. You can't go into a bushcraft scenario, survival foraging scenario, and then assume you're going to be able to find all these things. You have to already have some experience with where they are and where they grow, how they grow, when they're at their peak.
But using things like the autumn olive berries and the apples, which are acidic, to cook in with the squirrel, that helps break down and soften up the meat and adds flavor, and all the juices come out and have been soaked up by the mushrooms and the nettles. And then you've got the nuts and the apples in the bannock. So we've got a meat, multiple vegetables with the nettles and with multiple mushrooms, and then we've got Spicebush tea. So other than having dessert, which you don't really need, we've kind of got everything. Well, we do have more apples for dessert.
Yeah.
So that's pretty amazing to find all of that in the woods. And then the Spicebush on top. So I think it's neat that you have so many things, but the way that they were used, each one for its, particular properties, like the Spicebush dried up to grate on the top, and the stuff to add flavor and the acidity to the cooking. Yeah. It's pretty. The color on this is just gorgeous.
Yeah, that came out really well.
Yeah.
It's been a great challenge. Grateful to Thom for coming up with the challenge idea, because a lot of us we may be able to identify an edible out in the field, but it's a whole other thing to then actually use it in a meal. And often you see that on YouTube. Oh, here's wild leeks. Well, okay, fine, but how do you actually then put them into a meal? That's that's where the bushcraft really comes in. You have to take it beyond identification and put the item into action.
And this is a thriving meal. This isn't a surviving meal. This is like Thanksgiving in the woods early in November, which is pretty amazing.
And thanks to Chris for shooting it with his non-dominant hand.
One hand offhand squirrel shooting.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
There's the squirrel liver, cooked well. Tastes similar to a chicken liver. Pretty good.
Well, the heart's in there too somewhere.
Is it? Wow.
Well, it may have gotten eaten inadvertently already.
Oh, maybe. I might have thought it was a mushroom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see it. I'm pretty stuffed, and there's still quite a bit of squirrel left. So I might just have to take that to work tomorrow. You know, my coworkers will ask, hey, what's for lunch today? And I'll get to tell them, squirrel, some wild foraged mushrooms, a couple other wild foraged ingredients. Meaty squirrel.
I'm amazed that it tastes that good, and we didn't even put salt or pepper on it.
That's right.
I mean, it's like nothing other than what was gathered.
Yeah, didn't need it. The bacon grease, I'm sure, helped.
It helps everything.
Yeah. With the wild spice, we had bacon grease, but we had the juniper berry and the Spicebush berries dried up. All right, that does it. Can't fit anymore. It's a big meal. One more bite of Banock.
Leave the rest for the other squirrels.
Cheers. Thanks for watching.